inside and she's in the kitchen and she's kissing the jerk boyfriend that, 8 months ago.
That's American Virgin.
Is it called American Virgin? Thank you. They're kissing in the kitchen. And he's like, what the heck is going on? And she's like, he took me back. He took me back. Isn't this great? And he goes, yeah, it's great. It's great that your jerk boyfriend took you back. He leaves the kitchen, gets in his car, and drives off. And the movie ends. It's credits. Literally credits. So you don't know he's crying in the car, like he's crying and driving off, and there's credits. An hour and 45 minutes of this man doing everything for this woman. He had friends at the beginning of the movie. You didn't see them no more after the first 10 minutes. He had, maybe another young lady that he might have liked him a little bit, but you didn't see her no more. And the saddest part of the whole movie is it ends and you don't know what happens. Because he used up all the time with her. And she still chose the jerk. So we don't know if he drove off a cliff. We don't know if he went and got with the girl from the beginning. We don't even know if he has friends anymore because she used up all his time. Can you imagine how that must feel? Right? American Virgin. Thank you for giving me the name of it. American Virgin. Watch the movie. You guys will see what I'm talking about. It's a melancholy feeling. Right? The last American Virgin. Okay. That feeling of melancholy, it's a deep pain that is hard to kind of get across to people. And if you've ever felt it, you know that man gave everything for her. And she went back to the very thing that threw her away like garbage. If you can imagine, let's say like a stepson, right? Somebody's stepson. Daddy was gone, right? For whatever reason, he didn't want to be with your mama. He went off, we'll call him Tyrone, just so we put a name on it. And I like the name Tyrone. Tyrone decides that I don't want to be with this baby. He leaves. Now, another man comes in and not only raises you from a baby all the way up to graduation, but he takes care of your mama, gives you food to eat, clothes on your back, feeds you everything, buys you a car when you turn 16, rubs your back when a girl breaks your heart, buys your graduation gown for you, right? And he's in the stands watching you graduate and become a man. And he comes over and he sees you crying because Tyrone, your daddy, didn't make it to graduation. How should that stepdad feel? What's the appropriate way to feel when that stepdad raised you from diapers to graduation and he's been there the whole time, but you over here crying because Tyrone didn't come to your graduation? The Tyrone that threw you away. That's a melancholy that I can't give enough examples of it because you'd have to be in it to truly understand that kind of pain. Samuel says, enough to Saul. He says, let me tell you what the Lord said to me last night. Now, we talked about this Friday night. Is it ever anything good when somebody comes up to you and says, let me tell you what the Lord told me about you last night? Does that ever end well? It's very rare that it does. And Saul says, come on, tell me. Literally, if you're reading this, it says, tell me, Saul replied. Samuel says, although you were once small in your own eyes, did you not become the head of the tribes of Israel? The Lord anointed you king over Israel, and he sent you on a mission, saying, go and completely destroy those wicked people, the Amalekites. Wage war against them until you have wiped them out. Why did you not obey the Lord? Why did you pounce on the plunder and do evil in the eyes of the Lord? Here comes Saul. But I did obey the Lord, Saul said. I went on the mission of the Lord that the Lord assigned me, and I completely destroyed the Amalekites and brought back Agag, their king. You completely destroyed the Amalekites and brought back Agag. That's like saying, Mama, I washed all the dishes except for that plate. I left that for you to wash. Well, then you didn't wash all the dishes? You see how he's stumbling over himself? You didn't do what God told you to do. He goes, the soldiers took sheep and cattle from the plunder. Again, he's going to the soldiers. I wasn't me, it was the soldiers. What they did was they took the sheep and the cattle from the plunder, the best of what was devoted to God, in order to sacrifice them to the Lord your God at Gilgal. We did this for you. We did this for you. We wanted to sacrifice to the Lord your God. That's why we did it. If we killed them all, well, we wouldn't have anything to sacrifice. He's already making excuses for what he's done, right? Samuel replied, the Lord does not delight, and pay attention to this, the Lord does not delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the Lord. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. For rebellion is like the sin of divination, and arrogance like the evil of idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king. This is the third time he's told him, you will not be king. And then Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. I have violated the Lord's command and your instructions. I was afraid of the men, so I gave in to them. Now I beg you, forgive my sin and come back with me so that I may worship the Lord. He said this 3 times. I was wrong. It's not you, it's me. I messed up again, but I won't do it again. I beg you, just come on back to the house. I'll make you something to eat. We'll worship together and we'll keep on moving like we always have. Samuel has taken this man back twice when God said, go get David 2 times ago. David been waiting at Jesse's house this whole time. God is saying, the people picked Saul, I picked David. What are you waiting for, Samuel? Now, this is the 3rd time. What do you think Samuel says? He's heard this before. It's not you, it's not me, it's you. Or no, it's not you, it's me. And I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Come home to Gilgal. What does Samuel do, y'all think? Some of you was at the Friday Bible study, so you already know. But for the ones that don't, it says, but Samuel said to him, I will not go back with you. Good job, Samuel, finally. You have rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord has rejected you as king over Israel. And as Samuel turned to leave, Saul caught a hold of his hem of his robe and tore it. Samuel then turned around and said to him, I picture, if you guys have seen The Color Purple, maybe he did the silly, the till you do right by me. That's what I picture. I don't know exactly how it went, but that's what I picture. Samuel turned around and said to him, the Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to one of your neighbors, to one better than you. He who is the glory of Israel does not lie or change his mind, for he is not human. He is not a human being that should be, or that he should change his mind. And Saul replied, I have sinned. Haven't we heard? Isn't a broken record? Saul just got the same reply. I have sinned, but please honor me before the elders of our people and before Israel. Come back with me so that I may worship the Lord your God. What does Samuel do? The very next line, verse 31 says, so Samuel went back with Saul, and Saul worshiped the Lord. So Samuel went back with Saul, and Saul worshiped the Lord. I wanted it to say, no, Samuel went down to Jesse's house and anointed David and then walked out the rest of his days with the true king. But he went forward again. 3 times. Saul ain't never been good for Samuel. God has been showing him that, no, the true king is this way. But he loved Saul so much, he cried for this man, that even after he ripped his robe, he went back. How many times does somebody have to wrong you before you figure out that they're not right for you? Before you listen to God and say, you know what, I can't keep going back to you. It's crazy because the very next chapter, the first verse of the very next chapter, chapter 16 says, the Lord says to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, since I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn and be on your way. I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king. What does Samuel say to God after the 3rd time? He says, but God, how can I go? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. I got to put my phone down for this. What does it take? What does it take? I understand. If you're counseling a person that's been through a lot, everything they went through has forged their character. It's made them stronger. But how many times does somebody have to wrong you, hit you, hurt you, not care about you for you to wake up? Right? Samuel 3 times in a row. And now God is saying, remember David? And he's saying, but God, if I go find David, Saul will kill me. I get calls like this, not too often, but I got one call once from another young lady that goes to a different congregation in the middle of the night saying, Pastor Randy, he's lost his mind, right? This dude, he's beating the brakes off of me. I need you to find me a place to stay. I need a place to live. And I said, do me a favor, hang up the phone, pick it back up and dial 911. Don't call me if he's beating the brakes off you. Call the police. You know what she said? I can't make this up. She said, if I call the police, he might kill me. Does it sound familiar? Is anything ringing true from this story from 3,000 years ago to the phone call I'm sitting here listening to? If you call the police, he might kill you. If you don't call the police, he might kill you. you just confessed to me he's beating the brakes off you. I didn't even know humans had brakes. That's a term that I was even new to. Like, wow, he beating the brakes off you? And he still got you so concerned that if you call the police, that he's going to kill you. So you rather die without doing nothing, but you still had the nerve to call me in the middle of the night. Don't call me, pick up the phone and call the police. But it's a mindset. Right. In her mind, she knew that she could call me and there'd be no repercussions because she could go back to that man that's been beating the brakes off of her tomorrow. I could get her in a place to stay that night, but then tomorrow she can go back and he could be like, oh, I've sinned. Please forgive me. It's not you, it's me. I'm so sorry. Come back to the house. We can worship together. We'll get something to eat. He can do a Saul, what Saul did to Samuel 3 times. If she called the police, it would be more, it would be more complete. Because then he's going to jail. He's got to explain these bruises. Character is one thing, right? But you only got 2 eyes. After the second black eye, how much more character can you get? Unless you grow another eye, there's no more he can teach you, right? If it's me, I'm Tina Turner, right? I'm rolling on the river after the second one. Actually, after the first one, I'm like, you ain't got to hit me but once, Ike. You eat your own cake, I'm calling the police. That's how it's supposed to be. But it's a mindset that says, you know what, he didn't mean it. Or you know what, maybe I made him do this. Maybe it's my fault. Samuel is looking at Saul going, this is my fault. I let the people choose, and I fell in love with their choice. It's my fault. I can't go get David because I haven't finished with Saul. And God is like, but David is not Saul. David will love unconditionally. He will even love Saul. David is my chosen and my anointed. Even though Saul pushes him, he won't push back. David is the one you're supposed to be with, Samuel. What does Samuel do? Goes down to Jesse's house. He's salty, right? Because it ain't Saul, it's David. Looks at all 7 of Jesse's sons and says, no, that ain't the one. Goes outside, sees David in the field, walks up to David, takes the horn, puts the oil on his head and says, you are God's anointed, and walks away. And we don't see Saul no more in his own book. The rest of the Samuel. We don't see Samuel anymore in his own book. The rest of 1 Samuel doesn't even have him in it. Because he's so salty, he anoints the king. Does he walk with him like he walked with Saul? No. Does he spend time with him? Does he, treat him like a Padawan and a Jedi? None of that. No Obi-Wan Kenobi for David. Right? Because no, man, my heart is with Saul. He anoints David, he leaves, and for the rest of his own book, and there's a 2 Samuel too, right? He don't show up. He shows up in 2 Samuel as like a spirit. We don't even know if that's him. But how you going to have 2 books with your name on them, but because you salty, because you keep going back to the wrong person that was never any good for you, you ain't even in your own book. Used up all that time on the wrong person like that movie, right? An hour and 45 minutes until the credits. And you didn't find the right person. He found the right person and didn't want no part of it. Didn't want no part. He vanishes. He's gone after that situation. And the last half of the book is about David. And the whole second book is about David. Ain't none of it about Samuel. And they're called 1 and 2 Samuel. That's us.